We are live. Hello.
Yay.
Just gotta pause my YouTube here. Okay, we are live. Hello, hello. We have one
I am
person
trying to
here.
see I am trying to see why you're not popping up over here as being live.
Really? It
As
says I'm live.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting a notification that you're live. And this has
Yeah,
been a
I'm
really
live.
big issue with YouTube.
Oh, with notifications for YouTube. It's really bad. Really bad. Did it pop up yet?
I had to go search for it.
Oh.
So it's
Well, I get an email when I'm live.
Tommy G
Hey,
says hello.
Tommy. Hello, Tommy
Uh,
G. Paradox
Paradox.
Fossils in the house. Hello there.
All right. So
All right, I guess
yeah, I don't
everything is working good.
I have the notification bell set. Yeah, I don't know. It's a YouTube thing, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, because there was a couple people. I didn't even get a notification that you were live last night. But we are live now. Where is everybody? Cassie's in the house. Hi, Cassie.
Looks like Cassie had fun last night. Her and her husband went to a concert. She got all spiffied up too
Oh,
for it. She was looking good. I told her, "Oh, you look like a hot mom."
that's cool. Yeah, Cassie's coming up on my show on January the 8th for an interview. I'm looking forward to that. Last time she was on my show, we had matching hoodies.
Let's see. We just went around for more people to show up.
Well, we can get into it right now if you'd like to.
Hey, don't matter to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can give it a few more minutes. We got 4 people here so far. I don't know. Yeah, give it a few more minutes and see who else pops in, and then we can get going. Oh, Cassie says it was a freaking amazing concert.
Yeah, no, it looked like she had fun. That's for sure. Her and her husband.
Who did they go and Who did they go see? Who did you go and see?
I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. I just know she did say who she's seen, but I'm not familiar with them. But I'm kind of a
Oh.
music snob, so
Who did you go and see, Cassie? I hate the lag between StreamYard and YouTube. It's horrible.
yeah.
I saw Crown Lance from Oshawa and Tumbled from Toronto.
Yeah.
Huh. I've never heard of them before, and I lived in Oshawa for too many years.
I don't I have no idea. All I
Crown
know is
Lands.
she shared some video and the guitar player was just with hair just and it's funny though because the music wasn't really heavy per se, but he was just like in the zone.
Kind of like the bass player from Metallica. He's like always right into it.
Yeah.
Right into it. Oh, they're newer? Oh, that could be why I've never heard of them. That's a good possibility. All right, well, we might as well get right into it. For those of you out there that don't know Joe, he is a paranormal investigator, has been for many years. I forgot, I lost my train of thought there.
I'm sorry.
Great start to the interview. Great start to the interview. I lost my train of thought. That's bad. That's really bad. Wow. Yeah, he's been a paranormal investigator for many years. Joe and I have known each other for, I'd say maybe what, at least 6, 7 years now, eh? From back in the day.
I think so. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
Something like that.
I don't know. I'm horrible with years and dates and times and shit like that. So.
You're probably still half asleep too.
No, I'm awake now.
Yeah.
I'm just bad with stuff like that. Always been. I get in trouble for it too.
That's funny.
So.
Well, how about if we start off like this? What got you into investigating?
So. I've had experiences like growing up, but I never wanted to actually be an investigator. Lived in a home that had something really nasty there. It wasn't like the house was built on Indian burial ground or like people died in the house or anything like that. My grandfather actually had the house built back in the 70s. It was a custom home. He had it built. He actually did the brickwork on the house. He was a bricklayer. You know, imagine that. An Italian is a bricklayer.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Imagine that. Right. So anyhow, yeah. Him and my grandmother, they moved in to the house once it was done, and they lived there for a few years. I don't want to say too much because it is family, but certain family member got involved in a lot of different things and got into some dark stuff, and that's where it came from. So grandparents moved out.
What, you mean like brought into the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, kind of an invite, we'll say. So.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. My aunt and uncle, they moved in the house. My grandfather got a job offer in New York. That's where my dad's side of the family, originated from, is New York. From the boat, New York, and then Michigan,
Yeah.
and then Florida and wherever else. But anyhow, I need a drink of water. I don't like allergies are just messing with me. Sorry about that. So
that's okay. No worries.
My aunt and uncle, they moved into the house. One uncle stayed behind. Kind of the reason for the hauntings. Now this is secondhand information. I guess they were noticing some weird stuff. It kind of freaked them out. So one uncle, he was adopted, if that makes a difference anyways, but he was mentally ill, schizophrenic, and had some other things going on with him. So he ended up going into a group home. Eventually, my aunt and uncle, they moved out of the house and went back to New York. Just to be closer, I guess, to my grandparents. The one uncle, he stayed in a group home in Michigan, and my dad ended up buying the house. Well, let me back that up. Before my dad bought the house, there were these other people who lived in the house. They didn't live in it for very long. And honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it had something to do with my dad actually buying the house from my grandfather. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, ended up buying the house and we moved in. Um, Never felt very comfortable in the house. It was just very uninviting. Like it wasn't our space, it wasn't our house. So I thought maybe it was just me. I didn't tell anybody else for a while. But I started to notice things and started to remember things that I experienced in the house and at other places. But again, I never said anything about it. So, trying to make a long story short here, what was in the house was not good. It was more psychological than it was physical, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty typical in a demonic haunting. Um, it was also, I don't know, maybe like a part of me wonders if the reason for that to happen had to do more with me and where I was going to go and what I would be doing. Because things happen
Maybe
for a
they
reason.
sensed it. Maybe
Uh,
they sensed.
so probably not to sound like some sort of like religious nut or anything like that. But a lot of times people experience things that put them on a path. Um, it just puts them on a path and puts them on an adventure and having fun and having these crazy experiences, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in such a way, I kind of wonder if maybe the reason why that all like just happened had to do with maybe putting me in on a path. I don't know, but I just kind of wonder sometimes. But anyways, yeah, my parents had someone come out from a church to get rid of it. I believe it took 3 attempts, if I'm not mistaken. I know at least 2.
Wow.
And then everything just kind of calmed down. But there were still some weird things happening here and there. But overall, the real negative stuff, it went away. But I was terrified of that. I had a grandmother who was, extremely religious, and, to her and many others. Um, and they have every right to believe as they believe, but there were no
Mm-hmm.
ghosts. It was all demons. It's the devil. It's always the devil. And I always hear what the devil can do and how smart the devil is and how powerful the devil is. And then but there's Jesus. It's like that's great. So dude can walk on water, can somehow feed hundreds of thousands of people with a loaf of bread, can
Yeah.
turn water into wine. What else can he do? Because I mean, Jesus is coming off kind of weak here compared to Satan. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So, and that was
Yeah.
that sucked because that was always in my head too. Which
Mm-hmm.
what was there definitely took advantage of that. Um, but I wanted nothing to do with it, and I was with a friend of mine. His name was Bill. He's no longer with us anymore, but I do talk to his sister from time to time. I actually investigated her home. That's kind of where the whole 7-story thing happened. But I was with
Yeah, it's
him.
sad that he passed away. Are you talking about the same Bill?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so we were at a restaurant. We were just stupid, like really young teenagers, and it was Denny's, and at the time Denny's was like, hey, you come here, you don't have to order anything, you can get coffee for free, it's on us, right? So teenagers took advantage of that. All right, oh, let's go to the Denny's and drink all their damn coffee and act like we're adults and shit, right? So he was kind of bugging. He wasn't like trying to be purposely mean or anything like that. Um, but he was kind of teasing me a little bit about the house stuff like that, and there was a group of investigators behind me, which I didn't know. Buddy gets up, go use the bathroom, and he ended up running into some other friends. So he stopped to talk to them, and dude gets up from the table behind us, or booth behind me, and starts asking me questions about the house. I'm like, oh, I have no idea who the hell you are. And he's explaining, hey, we're this team, and we investigate, these claims, and da 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 da. We, heard your buddy kind of teasing you about it, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Go away. Even when, as far as to say that, hey, I'll tell you what, we'll take you with us to a place as long as we think it's safe, and you can talk to us there. Get away from here. Basically, giving me a little safe spot or whatever to talk freely about it. I wasn't having that. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you don't know who these people are.
I had no clue. So about, like a week or two later, something like that, I was with my dad. My dad stopped at the gas station. My dad knew the gas station owner. His name was Nick. And my dad went in there to talk to him, and I was standing outside. No air conditioning in the car, so I'm not going to sit in the car and roast. So I was outside of the car, and I hear this guy say, "Hey!" And I look up, and there's this guy, and his name is Bill. And I'm like thinking to myself,
same guy.
Yeah, same guy. I'm like, he's like, "Hey, you remember me?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
That'd be kind of creepy, I would think.
It was. I mean, yeah, it kind of was. I wasn't creeped out by it. I was more like, this guy needs to go, because if my dad finds out that I have talked about this stuff, he's gonna not be happy, because they didn't want anybody to know what the hell was going on, because it was taboo at the time. You don't talk about that shit.
Oh yeah.
I needed to get rid of this guy, and he kind of pressuring me to a certain point, and I'm like, but here's the phone number, whatever, right? And he went away. One
Just
long
go away.
later, yeah, one I don't know, could have been a week later. I don't remember. I'm horrible with dates. But anyways, phone rings. My dad answers it. He's like, "Hey, there's some guy on the phone for you." I'm like, "Huh?" So I take the phone, and I'm like, "Hello?" And he's like, "Hey, is this Joe?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, this is Bill, gas station, Denny's." I'm like, no.
Oh, you just couldn't get rid of the guy.
He's like, "Hey, so we're going to go to this home. It's safe. We've already investigated it. We'll sit down and we'll talk to you." It wasn't really even him that was really interested. It was that his parents, they were the leads of the team. They were more interested, but they thought, well, perhaps somebody younger coming up to me and talking to me, it would work better. I'm like 30 at that time.
Foot in the door.
But at that time, I was like 13 years old, and this dude, he's 20. That 13-year-old to 20-year-old, kind of old. So
yeah,
I'm like, oh crap. So I made I gave him directions to get to the house. I'm like, crap. So my dad's like, who was that? Now I got to somehow explain to him, whatever. And I wasn't about to tell him I'm going ghost hunting or whatever. So yeah, I lied, and I'm like, oh, my friend's dad. He's gonna come pick me up. I'm gonna stay the night at his house, or whatever it was. And that weekend, they came by, picked me up, and off I went. And I was scared as hell, because I was expecting the worst. Like, I wasn't expecting to be kidnapped or anything like that. It was more about, I'm going into a house that supposedly haunted, and given the experiences that I had, I was nervous. Nothing happened.
Yeah, because you don't know what to expect.
Right, and they talked to me and stuff like that, and I talked to them, told them a little bit what's going on. But then I just continued to go with them, and continued, and then I just ended up being on the team. There were a couple people who had an issue with that. They thought that they were going to have to babysit me, and I was way too young, and I probably was too young. But then one day, it was a couple months later, they're like, all right, Joe, Bill, you're going to go and investigate this room and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, wait, what? And the first question I ever asked when we were doing an EVP session was, are you alive? That was the first question I ever asked. And Bill started to laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I felt like an idiot. I felt like an idiot because he was like, go ahead, ask some questions. I'm like, I don't know what to ask. Like, what? I felt embarrassed. So, yeah, that was the first question I asked.
Yeah,
Hey, I got a reply.
Yeah, when you're that young and you've already had experiences, even if you hadn't, you don't know what to say when you're like,
Right.
12, 13 years old.
Right. So, got a reply. It said yes. I guess I didn't get to hear it because I also was not reviewing anything either. They were doing that. That wasn't going to come until later. These were the way that I was trained in and such were sort of like these baby steps. I was going with them. I was watching. And they would always tell me, this is why we are doing, this and why we're doing, whatever. Oh, they were constantly explaining things to me.
So it was kind of like a learning experience,
right?
Basically, to start with, yeah.
When digital cameras became a thing, I got more and more into computers and stuff like that as well. During that time, actually, I had gotten my very first computer. But one of the guys got a digital camera and he kept getting these weird little anomalies on his digital camera, but yet none of the other cameras were getting these anomalies. None of the film
just
cameras,
his.
or even, just his. And I wasn't there for this. I don't even know why. Something was going on, but I wasn't there for this. But they were actually on the news investigating a location up in Michigan. And they were talking about how they kept getting these weird anomalies. But before that had happened, I went and I looked into it because I was kind of curious. Digital camera. I was like, this is new. Like, wow, this is really cool. A digital camera? Woo. Mm-hmm. So I went and I did, I started looking into it and I found the camera that he had owned and I looked in the manual. I just to look and sure enough, there's a diagram of why people were getting these little anomalies. It was dust.
Oh.
So I ended up talking to our lead. His name is Jeff. And I said, hey, I found this and this is what's going on. And I had actually printed out the diagram and stuff like that. And I was going to bring it with me the next time I had seen them. I had actually forgot to bring it with me, but Bill, he had the manual for the camera. And I said, here, look, here's what's going on. This is why this is happening. And we're like, okay. That's what it is. So anyhow, yeah, they went and they were on the news doing a thing. It was around Halloween time, and they said that they kept getting these little like balls of light or whatever. But they did say, we believe it has more to do with the camera than it actually being spirits or anything like that. Yeah. And
yeah.
So and that the whole orb thing has been debunked for many, many, many years. Just people just keep running with it. It doesn't make any sense. But it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I knew that team was going to end fairly soon because the two leads, Jeff and Linda, they were both married. They're getting ready to retire, and they just wanted to travel and just do whatever.
Oh, they were older people back then. They were older people?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they have been investigating for a long ass time, like a really, really long time.
Nice.
I believe they got started in the late 60s, I believe, or maybe it was the early 70s. But yeah, they've
And I
been at it
guess
for
there
a long
wasn't
time.
really a lot of that going on back then.
Right. I
Not
mean,
like there is today.
like really the only paranormal investigators I had ever heard of, growing up was Ed Lorraine Warren, Hans
Yep.
Holder, and a couple of others.
Yep.
Those were really the only people that I knew because that's who you seen on
Yeah.
TV. I didn't realize, there was a lot of other people out there, doing the same thing. There's far more now than there ever was, but
Mhm.
to learn that there's a group in around your town that's doing that is kind of weird. It's like you only seen that on TV.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they ended up retiring, and they traveled and they stayed up in upstate New York for a while. I don't know, for whatever reason. That's where they wanted to go. I don't know why, but that's where they were.
Yeah. Did the
You know, they're-
son continue on with investigating or no?
no, their son and daughter. No, they were also military. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So when I would investigate with them, they were still active, but they weren't living on. Well, no, they weren't living on base at the time. So they were living, in their own places and then going into work, and so they're Air Force, actually. So they didn't live on base. Now I know the sister. She's probably retired now. I'm sure of it. But Bill, he is retired from the Air Force.
Mhm.
They're not doing anything. They're like, had fun doing it, but also for Bill, anyways, I don't really talk to Leanne all that much. But for Bill, he just sees kind of what's been going on in the field and seeing how dumbed down it's gotten and how commercialized it's become. It's kind of just
Oh, big time. Big time,
but
yeah.
he also sees how nasty it is, because it is nasty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Too
he's
much
like,
fighting going on.
yeah, he's like, but they've also, not just them, but other people as well. They've always encouraged me, because like I was doing the paranormal for a long time, but I just kind of like I stayed under a rock. I'm like, and I want to throw myself out there, because even I was seeing how ugly it could get, and even back in the 90s, back when the internet was still this fairly new thing to most people, we would see that too. I remember getting on my computer and I'm just looking up, different paranormal groups. Was curious to see who
I
was out
still
there.
do that now. Yeah.
And then I found like TAPS, or ghost hunters now. And I checked their stuff out, watched some of their little videos that they had on their website. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Keith Age, I've seen his team on there. They were like the first people actually on the internet when it came to like paranormal stuff. And then I didn't know at the time, but apparently the team that I was on, we had our own little website, but it was more like a forum thing. Because when you have your own website and stuff like that, back then it was terrible, guys. If you guys don't remember, the internet back in the day was terrible. It's nowhere near like it is now.
It was. It was horrible. It was horrid.
And there were a lot of teams out there. Well, not a lot, but there were a few teams out there, kind of around us. And I had went and I, just wanted to check them out. Just, hey, what do these guys got going on? Let's check this out. They're bad mouthing us. Yeah. And none of us have ever even met them. And I'm like, why are they bad mouthing us? So of course I said something to our lead about it. And he checked out and he's like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I have no idea who these people are. But they were bad, not just us. They were bad mouthing almost every team, like all 6 teams, I think, at the time. Just bad mouthing them. They're talking about how they know what they're doing and blah, 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 blah. So even back then, there was a little bit of nastiness. But, just kind of like, because my brain is like going back in time now. A lot's changed. A lot of popular locations that we have now, you used to be able to go into these locations and investigate them for like $25, sometimes $5. Hey, you want to go into this dark place and go look for ghosts? Okay, cost you $5, $10, or whatever. And then
not like $300, $400, $500 now, eh?
Yeah. Then it was funny because I remember our lead Jeff saying, one day this is going to get really expensive, and it's going to be a lot of people who are going to capitalize on this. And I remember back 2003, I think it was, I used to write this blog thing, just my thoughts. But it's still there. Nobody can see it, but you can see where I write about how at some point people are going to start making stuff to try to detect ghosts. And I talked about how some of these locations, because there weren't very many to begin with, but these locations, they're going to start charging a hell of a lot of money, and it's going to be a new revenue stream and stuff like that. I actually thought that before it even happened, and typed it out. And it's funny because it's still there. It's still up, but nobody can see it. It's private, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll share that.
It's kind of like you had a premonition before it even happened, kind of thing, right?
I could kind of see it coming because I knew that. And the only reason why I knew is because there was a lot of people talking about it, but they were saying, hey, this company over here, they want us, to do paranormal stuff or ghost hunting or whatever. And this is going on and that's going on. And it never really it never completely took off. It wasn't until Ghost Hunters is when that stuff started to really take off. Then other companies, had to come up with something similar to compete. And, then it exploded. And then once you had those TV shows coming out and featuring these different locations, all of a sudden, that the price of admission to get in just skyrocketed.
Yeah, to ridiculousness.
Just got really expensive. But I do understand to a certain point, because a lot of people, they see the prices of these places like, oh my God, that's expensive. How can they charge that much? Why would anybody want to pay, da 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 da. Well, a lot of places, the person picked them up, they're still paying on it. There's also taxes. Sometimes they need to have security. That's a cost to maintain. That's a cost. A lot of these places have to have insurance, and that costs money. And of course, that's going to get passed to us. But
I mean, you got to admit, though, that a lot of these places are charging ridiculous prices.
Yeah, and the thing is that paranormal in itself is a very rare thing. Yeah, sure, you can go to a place and have a pretty active night. You continue to go to that place, you're going to find that you're getting less and less and less. You might have another banger night here or there or whatever, but there's zero guarantee. You know, there's no
You're
guarantee.
going to kind of get like hit and misses if you keep going back to the same
Right.
place, I would think, you know.
Right. One of the things that I have told people is that, when you go to these places because you've seen them on TV or you see somebody else there and all these crazy things happen, don't expect that. Don't expect anything at all.
That's pretty much all for show, the TV shows.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah. I'm
To a
not going to
point.
sit there and say all these TV shows are fake. That wouldn't be fair to say. And that kind of bothers me too when people say that. Like, oh, it's all fake. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, first off, I get it. Yeah, they're probably exaggerating and stuff like that on things, whatever.
Yeah, to a point, but not everything.
Right. And
I don't think everything.
the problem is that, we're not there to see what's going on. We're not there to see them filming and we're not there to observe, at that point in time of filming, everything that's happening. No, I was on a show for very, I don't know, I joke around and say like 18 seconds, but I was on a show for like a minute. And yeah, they did definitely twist my words, and they turned it into what their narrative. But I never observed them faking or anything like that. I told them the experiences that I had there, but there were a lot of other experiences that I didn't tell them about because I wanted to see if they were going to experience some of that stuff. And they did without me saying a word what was experienced. So, with TV shows, yeah, they got to be interesting. They gotta pick and choose a storyline. They went in with the storyline of, an Indian curse. And I gave them all the information and history and stuff like that I had, showing, what was going on. And even showing documentation that there was never a curse put on the land, but rather a promise that a dragon canoe made. Basically, he made a promise to murder people, is what he did.
Oh wow.
He didn't curse it. He just said, hey, I don't like this deal. And, anybody who comes, through here that's not, one of us, they're dead.
Yeah. So they kind of exaggerated the story and kind of took it out of left field just to make it look good, right? But based off of something true. But
so, and here was the thing. When they were there, Amy came into the break room and said, "You're going to have to call the network because this is not Indian. This is something else." I'm like,
"Oh, Amy had said that."
Yeah, which wasn't shown on TV. They were kind of like done filming, but even she said, "This is not Indian. This is something different." And the network still made him go with the whole Native American Indian thing, whatever. So that kind of sucked, but at the end of the day, the place, there were people going there, TV shows that were going there, filming there, and then they weren't. It just fell off, the map, and then soon nobody was going there. And the people who were running the haunted tours and stuff like that, they credit me for bringing it back and putting it in the spotlight.
Well, that's good because you had told the actual truth of what it was compared to their nonsense.
Not just that, but I was, when I had went to Hales, I had went there. The first time I went to Hales, I didn't actually investigate. We were going to film there. It was too damn cold. So we just ended up not doing it. I ended up, I went to an event at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital and met up with some people. I didn't know who they were, we all became friends, and was that was really cool. So like Gary Fisher, you've probably seen him on my channel, and Brian, and some other guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I went to this event
Yeah.
by myself. I didn't know anybody, but I made friends with these people, and they're great people. But they had invited me to go and investigate Hales. Like, hey, you coming to to this event on Saturday? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. It's like, hey, you want to investigate Hales with us Friday? Hell yeah. And
right on.
that was the first time I investigated there. And not even 5 minutes, we didn't even get started to investigate. We were just setting up. That's when we seen a doppelganger. Gary and I both. Didn't even know.
Wow. Who did you see? Who was it?
So we thought it was Jeff. This guy, Jeff Holder. That's who we thought it was. Because Jeff was ahead of us when we were walking into the tunnels, but he went to the right and went to the break room. And Gary and I, we went inside. There was a little round table at the time, right as you come in. We set our gear down, and something catches the corner of my eye, and I look over. I'm like, oh, it's just Jeff. I know, watch him walk, whatever. So I'm just, getting things set up. I thought about hitting record on my damn camera, and I did not. But anyways,
you just thought it was Buddy.
We thought it was
right.
Yeah, we just thought it was this guy Jeff walking by us, and everybody else piled in, and they're like, "Oh, I hear somebody. I hear somebody down there." And they got the flashlights shining down there. Gary's like, "Jeff just walked down there." I'm like, "Yeah, Jeff just went down there." I was like, "No, Jeff's outside." There was another guy named Jeff who was there. He's like, "No, I'm right here." We're like, "No, not you, the other Jeff." He's like, "No, he's outside. He's smoking a cigarette. He's outside."
Oh, wow.
And then this guy, Jeff, that we had seen, like, what's going on? And Gary and I just kind of looked at each other like, what the hell just happened? Because we literally seen it within like a 30-second time span. We seen him come in. He never walked back out. And there's no way that he can get from where we were through the tunnels, different sections of the dam. Then he's got to unlock the gate to get out of the main building. Got to walk through a parking lot. That dude ain't doing that in 30 seconds. It ain't happening. So we're just like blown back by that. We're like, holy crap. And there were a lot of people who wouldn't do events there. One guy who was actually doing the events at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. We told him, why don't you do an event there at Hales? He's like, oh, it's not haunted. It's not haunted. It's all fake. They've made it all up. Well, we told him what happened, what we had seen. And then he became interested in doing an event there. But, for me, all I did was I threw videos out there. I talked about the place. And that's really all I did. And then people were starting to book investigations. They're saying, hey, we've seen this guy on YouTube investigating the place. And they're like, people are watching your videos. They're coming here because of your videos. And then it just...
Well, that's a good thing.
Right. And it got back in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. Right on.
So it was...
Paradox Fossils thinks our whole planet is haunted. I think so too. Hey, Allie.
Hey, Allie. Dang, my throat. But there's been other locations I don't talk too much about, but they weren't getting a whole lot of attention, and I would throw stuff out there, and people would go. I'm not saying like who
right too, right?
Yeah, and that's mainly what it was, word of mouth. And videos as well. It really had nothing to do with me, ooh, hey, Joe says this place is haunted, we should go. It was more like the videos and just word of mouth.
Yeah, they want to see so they can base on what they're seeing. Yeah.
Right. And I don't go into these locations and like hype them up and, you know, every little sound I hear, ooh, you know, freaking out, you know, getting all dramatic and shit like that. There's no reason for it. If a place is haunted,
Yeah.
It'll let you know.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll let
you know. Yeah.
And, you know, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. First time I went to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, I was like, holy crap, this place is really active. And I got a lot of cool stuff from there. And then I went back and, you know, it was pretty active, but the more I went, the less active it became. And, you know, then it's like, okay, now we're at the normal. You know, this stuff is rare. We're at the normal. Matt and I, the last time I went was with Matt. We didn't get anything, and that's, you know, that's what happens.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. Yeah,
and it, you know,
you're not going to get something every time that you go to a place. You know,
right? You know, don't set your expectations on things based on what you know what you see on YouTube, because there's a lot of, you know, a lot of places that these YouTubers go to, I've been to, and they are, I'm not going to name anyone, they are lying to you. They are making things up.
Yeah. Well, the thing is also, too, you know, like, you go to a place, not everybody's going to have the same experience. Like, you could go to a place and get, you know, a substantial amount of activity. And I could go to the same place and get a few things or nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not the same for everybody.
You know, there was some people who went to Hales and claimed that they spent the entire night there, which they didn't, because nobody's allowed to.
Or you get a certain person who says that they were the first person to investigate there, right, Joe?
Right, yeah, and they weren't. And here I am. I'm like, yeah, I got videos. The dates are on there.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. You put them in their place. Oh, you put them in their place. Oh, yeah.
And I did, like, a lot of people, you know, like, I had someone say, well, you wouldn't say that to their face. I'm like, here, let me show you this video. I met this person face to face.
Yeah.
But, you know, or, you know, I'm going to wake up early in the morning and I'm going to go get the sunrise. And then they show this sunrise. I'm like, that's the sunset. Why are you saying this the sunrise? You did not spend the night there. I was even there. I was not a part of the investigation, but I was there. I stopped by there. They were only there for like a couple of hours and they left. They didn't even get a cabin or a hotel, I don't think. I know they didn't get a cabin, but yeah, they were there for like 4 hours and they left. So they pretended like they slept, and yeah. And the, you know,
I guess some people don't realize that not everybody is naive.
Right.
If that's the way you want to phrase it, right?
Right. You know? So, you know, I like my channel. Look, you know, it's not a huge channel, and I don't, you know, I don't care about the numbers. Like, you know, it's the people who matter.
I'm like that too.
They matter. I'm not trying to get rich off of YouTube or try to be famous or anything like that. But it's like,
you enjoy what you do.
Right. And I know people, you know, they want the craziness. They want the, you know, okay, somebody walks in and 2 minutes later, boom, crazy stuff is happening. I get that. I understand that. But, you know, people are being set up for unrealistic expectations of what it's like to investigate. And I've had this where people say,
it's not like that.
I've got messages where people are like, oh, you know, I seen so-and-so investigate this place, and me and other people, we're going to be investigating it next weekend, and I can't wait. And I'm like, don't expect anything. Like, go in there, don't expect anything to happen. And of course, it's, you know, get the, well, why is that? You know, so-and-so went there, and it was really, really active. Well, so-and-so is faking their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been there. many times, a certain location, and I have yet to experience any of that, and I don't know anyone else, even the person who owns the location, experience this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They go, and I'll hear back from them a few days later or a week later. They're disappointed. They felt like they wasted their money because the location was expensive. And I'm like, I told you.
You got to go in with an open mind, not go in there to a place, they hear all this stuff. Oh, this and this has happened and this and that has happened. They don't know if it's real or if it's fake. And they're basically closed-minded around what they've heard instead of going in open-minded.
Right.
I think you would get less disappointment if you go into a place open-minded than just having in your head what has happened to other people, regardless if it's real or not. You know what I mean? They expect too much and then they're disappointed,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, my goal has always been with my channel. I've said it for many, many years. You've heard me say it, many years. My channel is taking, letting people see these locations, get a little bit of the history, but seeing what it's really, what it's really like, what it's really all about.
Yeah, what the real deal is. Yeah, the real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not that exciting. It really isn't.
I know it can be boring.
Right.
It can be boring. It can.
Right. And for next year for my channel. Yeah, next year for my channel I do have a game plan. Of course it's always going to keep real. I'm going to make it a lot more fast paced, and make it more interesting. But again, hey, if nothing happens, then nothing happens. I'm still going to throw it out there. If stuff does happen, then, awesome. But I'm definitely doing a major change to my channel for next year, and going to be adding a few things to my channel as well. So, like, if I go to a location and if the town or whatever is cool and interesting and stuff like that, I'll go check out the town, get footage, the town, whatever, talk about whatever's there, whatever may be interesting. And I'll put it out there too. I won't include it in the video itself of, the investigations, but just footage that's not paranormal, of like wherever I'm at, sightseeing basically.
Yeah, like a mishmash of things.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of places that we go to, like Hartford City, Indiana. It's got 4 locations within only like a few hundred feet away from one another. So if I go and investigate a location and not the others, I can at least go, hey, here's this place, here's what's going on. It's haunted, and here's this other place. And I can do things like that. And I think that would be I think it would be cool and interesting, for people to check out. So I do plan on doing, stuff like that. Hey, Karen. And then I got some other ideas. I don't want to.
She wondered where you were.
What's that?
She wondered where you were. She wondered where you were.
Oh no, I know. I know she. Let me chat. Yeah, Karen sent me a message and I haven't seen it yet.
No, she just said it in the chat that our episode is up.
Let's see. I'm ready. Yeah. So that is where Joe is. Yeah, I'm here, right here.
Paradox Fossil says they just about got a new cricket farm ready in Canada to create 5 tons of insect protein for human and animal consumption. Ew.
I'm not eating crickets. But
That's
just
nasty.
just out, just doing my thing. We got the documentary, that's out. We're going to be filming another one. We wanted to start filming it shortly after Christmas, but that's just not going to happen. And we're just going to have to wait. Matt joined the Marines, and he's going to be next November. He's going to be shipping out. So 2014 is when we plan on filming the next one, which is
2001?
2024. Did I say 2014?
You said 2014. I'm like, what?
Yeah, 2024. I don't know why I said 2014. Oh, anyways.
Wake up, Joe.
Yeah,
I'm just
kidding. 2024. We're gonna film the next one, which it kind of sucks, but it'll just end up being better. Having that gap, because that way it'll give us time to have more of a financial leeway with the documentary, because documentaries are expensive. When we did the Conjuring House, in terms of putting together a film, it is beyond, well beyond or well below a low budget film. But it did end up costing a lot more in the long run, especially after filming it and getting it out to a distributor and out all over the place.
Well, you guys have to pay to distribute it. Do you not?
So basically, I'll start, I guess, from here. So Matt got a guy who knew how to get to distributors, and he can pitch to distributors. That's $5,000 right there, which Matt paid for.
Wow.
And
wow.
I was against that, and I told Matt, I don't like this. I feel like this guy might be, ripping you off. I don't want to see you.
Was it like
that's a lot of money? Was
it like you had to pay that up front before?
Yep, before it got pitched to any distributor, $5,000. Well, I didn't like the idea because I didn't want Matt to lose, that kind of money.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money to put out for a what if.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Matt did anyways. And, it worked out. It worked out. So, I was wrong on that one. Yeah, I was wrong on that one. But we ended up having, I believe it was 6 meetings in one day. Like, we get off the phone with a distributor, and then like a half hour later or an hour later, boom, I'm on the phone with another one, and then another one, and then another one. So it was really interesting because I didn't think about it at first. It wasn't until I probably like the second or third distributor that we talked to. They were they were negotiating with us for the film. It wasn't that we were trying to, please take it, please. No, they were telling us, here's what we do, and here's what we can offer. They were pitching themselves to us, and it was so bizarre.
Wow. Yeah. Normally it's the other way around, right?
No, that's how it works, but never did I think that I would have not just I alone, but Matt as well, but never did I think that I would be on a phone call having a meeting with distributors pitching themselves
plugging
to us.
themselves.
Yeah, it was
they're
really,
plugging themselves to you.
It was really weird. And one of the distributors, they only focus on 3 or 4 films a year. They're extremely picky about what they want to put out there. And so for them to be interested in us, it was like, holy crap, because like they're like top tier they're like a top tier like distributor when it comes to
promotional
quality.
company or whatever.
Yeah, well, they only take like the best quality and work with that.
Okay.
So we were just like, holy. Yeah, we talked to 6 of them. One of them we just were like, eh. Because one of them wanted to take the documentary and split it into different parts, like make it a series. And we're
Oh,
like, no, it
really?
needs to be seen. And we know it's a long documentary, but it needs to be seen as a whole. You know, if somebody wants to like
Mhm.
just stop watching it, you know, and come back to it, you know, fine, whatever. But don't split it up like that. So
Yeah, it's too confusing if you do something like that, I would think. Like
yeah,
Matt sent me the link to watch it, and I haven't had a chance to yet. So, but
um,
I will watch it.
so we picked one. Um, then it came to, okay, you guys have to have, you know, insurance. Now you got to pay for insurance. And then got to
More
pay
out
for
of
this. Yeah. Got to pay for this, got to pay for that, got to pay for this, got to pay for that. Now the distributor, they you know, they cover the costs of distributing, you know, from like to streaming services to like, you know, physical copy. You know, they cover all of
Mhm.
that, which is cool. But we will likely not recoup what was put into it, especially Matt, because Matt put in the majority of the funds for the movie. Um,
Mhm.
so, you know, we probably won't recover from that because a lot of people think, oh, you know, they got this out, it's all over these streaming services, they're gonna make a lot of money from it. No, we're not going to. Uh,
Doesn't work that
documentary,
way.
yeah. First off, documentaries don't make that much money, and this being a paranormal documentary, you know, now that's a smaller audience.
Yeah.
But
Do you I'm just curious because I know with records, they play your song, you get royalties off of everything. Now, does that work for documentaries as well? Like, do you make royalties off of every every one that's sold, or how does that work? I hope I'm not being too personal with asking that.
no, that is absolutely fine because there's a lot of people who don't understand how that work. So whether it be music, movies, you only get paid quarterly. So you only get paid four times a year.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
with the
Is it a
document,
lump
like
sum or
it's all paid, you know, for that quarter. So
okay,
whatever
so it's a lump
sells,
sum of okay.
yeah, it's just money over time for like the next, I don't know, like 15 years or whatever. So
Okay.
what happens is, first off, even with bands, when you write or you film something, even though you did it and it's yours, we no longer own this. This is now owned by
Oh.
the distributor. Um, and yeah, that's how that works. So then what happens is, you know, we get paid 4 times a year.
But you still own the copyright, do you
No,
not?
they
You
have
own
the
the
nope,
copyright.
nope. So Matt got the copyright
Wow.
done, and then had to send the copyright
Yeah.
over to them, so they own the copyright. That's just how it works. And
Jeez. I
you
guess
know,
that you
unless you're
gotta do that to get your stuff out there, right?
right, that's right. You know, when you look at like Michael Jackson, he wrote all these songs. Most of them were hits.
Mhm.
but he didn't own them. But eventually he did end up owning them. But even the Beatles, their songs were sold to different people. Michael Jackson ended up buying the rights to the Beatles music, and Michael Jackson could have
Oh
made
wow.
tons of money. Every time a
Wow.
Beatles song was played or anything like that.
He
I
got
believe
the
he ended up,
royalty.
he could have, but I believe he went and he gave those rights back to them. But
Mm,
so yeah, get paid quarterly, but also everyone gets a cut. Streaming services get a cut. Distributor gets a cut. Like Amazon, they take a huge cut. They take a huge cut. So when it's rent or bought, I only very little we get. Apple
jeez.
TV, they get a cut. Vudu gets a cut. It's also on different cable companies, and it's on Dish Network for their on-demand stuff. They get a cut. So
Wow.
we really don't make a lot of money, and I'm not complaining about that. But when you want to make your next documentary, you got to be able to fund it,
Yeah.
and that takes money.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
for us, I know I speak for Matt on this too. It's not necessarily about the money. It's not about the money. It's just exposure.
Yeah, getting your stuff out there. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
We've won 22 awards. Matt's picked up from those 22 awards. Matt has picked up awards for best first time director, best editor, things like that. Best documentary, best feature.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's come a long way from back in the day. He really has. Really has. You both did. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, you guys worked so well together. As funny as you guys both are, you guys really work well together.
And look, we bump heads. Matt and I will bump heads.
Oh, I know. You get irritated with him a lot. I've seen it, yes, but you work very well together, the pair of you. You do.
But it's more, the irritation isn't necessarily a negative. It's because we want to, he does just as much as I do. We want to make sure that whatever it is that we're doing, it's gonna be the best it can be. The
did you want to show some sorry, I was just going to ask you if you wanted to do you have any clips you can show of it without giving away too much about the documentary?
I'm gonna pull up the documentary itself, and I will find a spot if I can to show something, maybe a little different than what's out there. Let me see. Because everybody's been seeing the same clip, but I don't want to give too much away.
Good, because I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
It's still sitting in my messages. I messaged Matt last night because he had posted something yesterday about it. Did it go to a new streaming service? I can't remember what it was that he posted, but
okay. So what used to be VidiSpace, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head now. They're doing their film award thing. And,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
So let me do this. I'll show a little bit.
Okay. Just a teaser.
And I'm gonna mute myself because it may echo. Okay. So I'll mute myself and we'll get to it.
All right.
A little bit racing here. I did my homework on this location, so I know the potential of what we might be walking into.
The day has finally come where we set foot on the Harrisville farmhouse property for the very first time. We wanted to uncover the real history and experiences of the house, so we interviewed Keith and Carl Johnson, the first paranormal investigators and demonologists to ever investigate the house. Next, we interviewed Corey Heisen, the current owner of the farmhouse, as well as John Huntington, also a paranormal investigator. He investigated the house the longest and lived there for 9 months with the Heisens as a caretaker. Lastly, Andrea Perrin was interviewed. She experienced this infamous haunting.
That's all I'm showing. And you're muted. All right.
She's an amazing woman.
Yep. Yeah, that's all I'm going to show.
Okay, good.
So, it's funny because when I was growing up, I heard about the Conjuring House. As I got older and was investigating, it was a place that I always wanted to go to, but figured never going to happen. But then the opportunity presented itself. And I thought, okay, cool. We're going to go and we're going to investigate this place. I'll probably end up not ever going back. Not because they didn't want to, but it's a drive. I've been to the Conjuring House 3 times. So,
yeah, that's a long drive from where you are, eh?
Right. So yeah, I've been there 3 times. It is a great place. I don't know when I'll go back. But it's something that I can, check out the bucket.
It didn't sell yet. Corey still lives there?
Nope, they sold it. I believe it was the realtor who actually bought it. Yep. And if I had the money, I would have bought it. But yeah, I never thought that would ever happen, and it happened. And
it was pretty pricey though. It was
so
pricey.
It's we paid $125 per person a night.
No, I meant like the price that they wanted for the place. Wasn't it like $299 something?
Like a couple million.
Wow.
But it was a lot of fun, and like I said, we investigated it for 2 nights, and I thought that would be it. Nope, went back. The second time we went back was with Levy. Thanks to Levy,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to go back. Now, in the documentary, you see us go back a second time because there was something had happened, and we wanted to, we needed to make absolutely sure what happened was not done by, one of us or anyone. We wanted to make sure. We had to go back and we wanted to try to debunk something. And in the documentary,
was it upstairs?
Yeah. So Matt flew in.
I think I know what you might be talking about. I think was it with Billy? With Billy?
Yeah, but we won't say exactly what it was, but you know what I'm getting.
Well, no, I had to think there for a minute back what happened with Billy and that certain object upstairs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in the documentary, it shows that we go back. It shows me driving, and when I went back, it was the worst timing ever. We had a really nasty ice storm come through, and it was coming through from Tennessee all the way up to Rhode Island. I was in that freaking storm all the way there. I took pictures of my car being covered.
Right. Yeah, you posted. Yeah.
Just
I remember you being live, posting it, driving there. Yeah. I remember
cars
that.
Just all over the road. Semi trucks tipped over, cars rolled over.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I even made that trip. Yeah, here's me driving, the speed limit's 70 miles an hour, and I can only do like anywhere between 15 and 20 miles an hour. So a 13-hour car ride took me almost 20 hours. And then on top of that, there was something in the road that went underneath my car and shredded my tire. So I had to put a freaking spare on that. That was a pain. And then I had to go get another freaking tire. Wasn't
it you had a donut on in there, didn't you? Until
I had
you got
a donut
the tire?
Yeah. I put the donut on. I stayed at a hotel. I woke up that morning, got another tire, and went on my way. But we did.
That's dedication, Joe.
Yeah. So there was something else that had happened. It's in the documentary. I won't say what that was, but there were other things that had happened when we were there the second time. And I remember looking out the window upstairs. I'm like, I kept seeing these balls of light. I'm like, what is that? Like, I keep seeing these lights in the woods, and they're up high. And we were taking a break, and I was on the phone with somebody, and she kept saying, is it a helicopter? I'm like, I'm not really sure how a helicopter could fly that low in a forest. That's just not happening.
With all those trees there. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a snowmobile? No, that's not a snowmobile. We would be able to hear it, and it wouldn't be hovering in the air. Well, it could be this, it could be that, it just could be blah 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 blah. I'm like, it's none of those. Like, it's none of those. Well, there's another documentary.
I'm not even going to ask you who it was asking you all that stuff.
Yeah, well, you have an idea. So, anyways, Anyways,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh boy.
There's another documentary called Sleepless Unrest. And because of the time that they had went, it wasn't like bombarded with snow. Because when we went, it was nothing but snow. But they actually were outside. And I didn't know this. I had no knowledge of this at all. It wasn't until I had seen their documentary. They were capturing the same thing. These balls of light up in the trees. It wasn't up in the sky. It wasn't on the ground. It was like 20, 30, 40 feet up. And they kept seeing these like little balls of light. So when I watched their documentary, I'm like, well, I can confirm that. I can back that up because that's what we seen. We saw the same damn thing. So, that was pretty cool. Levy ended up getting touched. We did a little spirit box session, had him blindfolded and stuff like that. And I had asked, hey, can you touch Levy's left leg? I believe it was his left leg. But a little while later, he kind of jumped back. Something touched his right leg rather than the left leg. But, it was just weird because the timing, because I had asked and, he did get touched. But it's like, in a joking way, I said, I wonder if everything is opposite to them. Is left, right, left. Yeah, you never
Yep,
know.
you never know.
But
Probably thinking, well, who's left? Who's right? You're right or my right?
right now, one of the places that we didn't even think of it at the time. I don't know why, but we didn't investigate the barn. It
Oh, you
wasn't
didn't
until
investigate.
no, we did not. It wasn't until we did our event. So we had to we had a bunch of people there. They were investigating with us. And we needed to make sure everyone was separated. So we had different spots. Well, one of those spots was the barn. And I was kind of like, I don't want to do the barn. I want to be in the house, Good thing we did, because we had a lot of EVPs, like legit EVPs from the barn. And I was like, holy shit. Like, wow. Unbelievable. The house itself wasn't really all that active, but it was funny too, because again, I'm not going to say specifically what had happened that was captured, but we were in the area.
I wonder if it's I just wonder if it's because that place has been investigated so many times over and over and over again that maybe whatever's there kind of gets, bored of repetitious things and same questions and whatnot,
Right. Well, whatever was in the barn definitely did not want us there. It wasn't happy. We were invading its space. But yeah, with the thing that was captured, we were in that area. We had a lot of people in that area, and we're like, do this and see if you can make this happen, right? Everybody's trying like hell without touching the object, trying to get this object to do what we had captured happening. Did nothing. And one of the people who were there, who was there for the event, looked at me and said, that just made that a lot realer. I'm like, I know, right? Because what the hell happened? So the other thing.
Well, I remember the look on Billy's face when that one thing did happen. He freaked right out.
Right. And here's the thing too in the documentary, is that when, and a lot of the was Bill, when you hear Bill say this, he's got a high IQ in investigating. He's a very intelligent investigator, so he has a understanding of how lights and shadows can make it seem.
Gotta love his funny comment though. His funny comment and the one made my nipples hard.
Yeah, that was the when we had investigated the what is it called? I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. Anyways, that was not too far from me. But Bill had seen, not in the documentary, it was another place. Bill had seen a full-bodied apparition, and it was funny because he got all excited about it, and I don't know why he said
that was hilarious. When I was watching that, oh my god! I took a drink of my coffee, I spit it all over. I kid you not, all over my laptop screen. I roared, man.
Yeah,
I roared.
Yeah, he'd seen a full-bodied apparition, and again, I don't know why he said it. Maybe it was out of excitement. But he's like, that made my nipples hard.
That was hilarious. That was freaking hilarious. Oh my god. That was hilarious.
Bill, he's a great guy. His wife, Kate, she's awesome too.
I miss seeing them online.
I do
really
too.
Miss them.
I do too. But and I tell people, look, this place kind of has something in common with the Hinsdale house. It's not the house that's haunted. It's the property.
It's the land.
It's the land, yes. For whatever reason, the parents, specifically the mother, was just the perfect target for
Kind of
this
like a
thing.
conduit.
Yeah,
Kind of like a conduit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just for whatever reason, she was just the perfect person for this thing to pick on. So
Yeah, that poor woman went through a lot. She really did.
yeah. Um,
Because I
but
remember watching something where they all went back to the house. Even
right,
the father went.
right.
And I don't. Do you know which thing I'm talking about? I can't remember the name of it. It was on
It,
TV, I think. Yeah,
it was
it was on TV where they all
I
went back.
believe that was, oh geez, what I cannot remember. It was an online thing, I believe. I know they were there for like TV stuff too.
Yeah, because I saw some TV show where they all went back except the one daughter didn't want to go, but she did, and the father was there too. But I can't for the life of me think what show it was.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember, but I know that there were some other things that they did as well. Um, you know, I can I can talk about this. One of the things that does drive me nuts about the paranormal is the lack of research that gets done, or the research is just copy and paste, and it was never correct to begin with. So, like in the case of Bathsheba Sherman, she was never a witch. She never did anything wrong, but her name got
And she
dragged
wasn't
through.
buried on the property either.
No, no.
There was a lot of stuff said that wasn't true about that.
No, we did visit the cemetery where she's buried at, and at that time, her headstone was destroyed.
Oh, really?
Gone.
Wow.
Yep. Because people thought, they honestly believed that she was a witch, and she was buried in a Baptist cemetery.
Now, wasn't her husband buried there too? He passed away before she did.
Yeah, and then she got remarried. Yeah, then she got remarried.
That's right. Yeah.
And,
didn't she lose a? Didn't she have a miscarriage or something? Or
I don't I don't recall if she did, and they probably did. No, they did. Yes, that was a very common thing, though. And that's somewhat one of the reasons why people had a lot of children back in the day. There's no guarantee that they were going to live a long life. But also big family helps with farming and things like that as well.
Yeah.
But she had.
But it's pretty sad, it's pretty sad when people feel the need to make stuff up. Like, okay, the location's old, right? The place is obviously haunted. What I don't understand is why some people have to basically buff up an already haunted location with lies. You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't know if it was purposely, made up or what the deal was. But when I did research, there were people who believed that, Bathsheba Sherman was related to the Arnolds, and they're not in the family tree. I did the research. And
well, see, that's
trust
the good thing about you. You do your research.
Right. I don't go off.
A lot of people don't. They go on hearsay.
Right. So I don't go off on what other people are saying, but that's not 100% true either. Because, part of that research is, well, here's what these people are saying. Well, now I'm going to go look into it. I'm going to go dig.
Yeah.
So
it's getting dark in here.
Bathsheba, she probably never even, for all we know, she probably never even visited the property. And then there's all these other things, you know, where people, I had to watch what I say because it is YouTube, but
Yeah.
people have,
Yeah. Oh, I look
ex-
like a Smurf now.
people have expired themselves. I guess I'll say it like that, which
Yeah.
couldn't find nothing, nada about death that I was able to find on the property was a guy. He was drunk and he was walking home, and he went into the barn on the property and he froze to death. He died. And
Oh,
the barn's
wow.
not even, this barn's not even there anymore. It was torn down. There used to be also a like a blacksmith's, shop, whatever. But there's no record of anybody actually dying on the property other than that one man. But we do know that a war with some natives have happened in that land around the property, and could have very well have went through that property.
Yeah,
so
you never know.
Because we do know within the woods, in the woods that surround the property, yes, there absolutely was a war going on there. There was a couple of wars, you had the Civil War as well. They all were also running slaves through there. They were taking, running slaves out of the United States into Canada in that area as well.
Yeah, they must have had like an underground railroad somewhere out around there to bring them out here to Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's quite a bit of history there. I don't know what's, I don't know what exactly the haunting is tied to exactly. I will say that I do believe that because of history and what went on around that land, I personally do believe that
I'm
it
thinking
is
it could be native.
In very well could be.
I think it could be native.
I personally believe, and not to sound all dramatic and stuff like that, I do believe it to be something demonic. And it has the character, everything about it has the red flags and the characteristics of something demonic, such as the mimicking of people, and the strength that it exhibits. It's very, very strong, physically strong. I don't want to give too much away because a lot of that's in the documentary, but there were things that people weren't able to do, but this thing was capable of doing. I can tell you this, they tried to shut a window. They absolutely could not get this damn window to shut. And when they went to do something, because something was going on at that time, the window just ended up slamming shut.
Oh, wow. Well, didn't Corey had quite a few things happen to him. I remember, I don't remember where I saw it. I know it was on YouTube, and he was talking, and I remember Corey saying something about, like you had said about the mimicking, that he had that happen to him quite a few times. And I think his son had that happen too. And I think he had said that was one of the reasons why his son did not want to live there. That and some other things that had happened there.
So,
and he didn't feel comfortable living there.
Right. So they never actually lived in the house. I don't
that's
think they
right
ever.
Too.
Yeah, they actually never. I don't believe. I'm not sure, but I believe that
I thought they did.
Yeah, they never really wanted to actually live in the house because they lived elsewhere. They were only there when people were coming to investigate, which they were there a lot.
Oh, they were. Yeah, I remember
Um,
those the things that Corey and I forget the other guy's name, like eating all this hot stuff and see who would puke first, and they did that live. Do you remember that stuff?
John Huntington? Is that who you're?
Yes, it was him and some other guy.
Yeah.
That's when John lived there.
Yeah. So yeah, they never like lived there. You know, they were there when people were investigating, and of course they got to go there to, you know, to maintain things as well. But yeah, Corey and Jen, they're awesome people. You know, and Corey and I, we have something in common. We both are guitar players. And we kind of like like guitars. But I mean, they're great people, and you know, I had even said, I didn't mean this negatively, but I had said quite some time ago, I said I have no idea how long they're going to keep this house. I don't think they're going to.
How long did they own it for?
A couple years.
Oh, that's all, eh?
Like 4 years or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, I didn't mean it in any negative way, but I had said I don't see them having this house, you know, for a long time. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's old. You know, to heat the place is probably a fortune. I'd hate to have their electric bill.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
You know, and with Corey's health, trying to maintain the outside, keep the grass mowed, and all that other stuff. That's a huge responsibility. So I said I don't see how they're going to keep this house for very long. It's going to end up, you know, going up for sale. But hopefully, you know, whoever buys it, you know, they'll continue this. And you know, that's what has happened. Somebody else bought it, and
do you think that the new people that have bought it could maybe? Hey, Frank, who's blocking me today? Nobody. You're back.
Give me a minute. You're being buttoned up.
Yeah. As you know, as far as you know, new people that have bought it, in your opinion, do you think that it's going to stay the same as far as having people investigating, or do you think it might turn into a shit show?
No, I think it's going to be fine. The lady who bought the house, you know, she loves the house.
Hey, Frank.
The deal is, Frank's sexually harassing me. I like it.
Oh, of course. I told him yesterday that he's unblocked and he can come and harass you.
Yeah. So I don't know the lady. She seems like a very, very nice lady, and it seems like she does love the place. So the deal was when it was put up for sale that whoever bought it could not live in it, and everything continues the way it has been. So letting people in to investigate and whatever else comes with it. So I think she'll be fine. She may be like, oh my God, this is kind of overwhelming because it's the Conjuring house. You know, maybe for a little bit there, she thought a little overwhelming, but I don't, I'm speculating, but I'm sure she'll do fine. I'm sure she will do fine. People are continuing to go there to investigate.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Hits.
I hope it. I kind of thought that, you know, if somebody new bought it, and I know other people were wondering too, you know, not just people that have been there to actually investigate the place, but, you know, people that have, you know, seen it on TV and whatnot. wondering if maybe, with like new management, I guess you could say, for the place, would it stay the same as far as investigating goes? Or, would they still have investigators, but they, throw in things to kind of maybe fake it to make it more, do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I know what you mean. No, then none of that's going to happen. Then there's no reason for it. Again, you go to the Conjuring house, do not expect crazy off the wall what you've seen on TV or in the movies. Don't expect that. Just go into it as you would any other
Open-minded.
place. Right.
Yeah, open-minded. Yeah.
I went in, and this is me with any location, unless it proves different. I hear the stories. I don't want to know too much of the history. I'll find out the history later. I go into these places like they're not haunted. It's not haunted. I'm going to go in there and nothing's going to happen. And a lot of times it's just that's just what happens. I'm not saying when I say it's not haunted, I don't mean it's literally, not haunted. That's where my mind is. I want to be as unbiased as I possibly can, unless, like I said, it proves otherwise. And if I go back, I'm like, well, this place is haunted. Let's see what else happens, if anything else happens, So with the Conjuring house, I know the history of the Conjuring house. I know it probably a lot better than most.
I would say, yeah.
And again, because growing up, hearing about the Conjuring house, stuff like that, I went. I was very comfortable there. I was comfortable. I walked around the house like, wow, this is holy shit, and wow, this is where Ed and Lorraine Warren were. This is where Keith and Carl
it's a
were.
cool looking house.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking.
Keith and Carl, the guys we interviewed, they were actually the first to investigate the Conjuring house before the Warrens. And they were kind of the reasons why the Warrens got involved as well. So,
yeah,
I'm going through the house doing B-roll and stuff. I was so comfortable there. We really didn't have any weird experiences up until we talked to I believe it was Keith and his wife. We were interviewing them, and at first I heard this little girl, and I'm like, I heard that. What the hell was that? And then we hear a woman. Matt and I both did, and Matt's like, "Did you hear that?" Oh yeah, I heard that. We ended up capturing it. It didn't get put in the documentary, but we did hear it, and it was captured. It just wasn't loud enough. So that was like our first little like, holy shit, like wow, kind of moment. A lot of it just kind of catches you off guard. I have talked about this. It is talked about in the documentary. Unfortunately, we weren't filming. We got done eating. Bill was on the phone with his daughter, helping her with homework. They all went outside. I went to use the bathroom, and as I was walking out of the bathroom, I heard this little girl say in an asking tone, "Daddy?"
Oh, wow.
I didn't hear Bill. I'm like, well, maybe it is Bill. And I walk out. No one's there. I'm like, okay. So I go outside, and I'm like, is anybody just in there? I don't remember exactly what I said. And then, Bill, were you on the phone with your daughter? Like, no. And I told him, like, I heard a little girl say, "Daddy." So I was like,
wow.
That's pretty weird. But yeah, there were some other things that, they happened that we didn't exactly capture, but, it was talked about in the documentary. And, making a documentary, I find it easy. It's a lot of work, but I find it easy to be very neutral and unbiased. And Matt's the same way. When we wanted to do the documentary, we didn't really want to put our 2 cents in anything. We didn't want to make anybody look bad or look, like they were a superhero or anything like that. We kind of just kept our opinions, to ourselves and let everyone else just kind of,
Do their thing.
do their thing. So we did try to get Tony Sparta in the documentary. I sent them a message. Matt sent them a message. They didn't get anything back because we would have liked to have gone down to the museum and just set up an interview and have him talk on behalf of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
That would have been kind of cool. Yeah,
I thought that would have been really important, because there was really nobody to speak for them. And we know that Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're controversial. There's a lot of questioning and stuff like that, and I get that. I understand that. There are a lot of people who don't exactly care for Ed and Lorraine Warren. I look at it as, look, whatever the issues are, the most important thing to take from Ed and Lorraine Warren is that they put the paranormal in the spotlight.
They did.
They really put it out there in
did.
the spotlight. Whether you agree with them or not, or don't believe them, whatever, that's absolutely, that's fine. But they were at the forefront of, putting themselves out there and putting the paranormal out there in the spotlight. But it would have been really nice to have somebody at least represent or talk, give the Warrens kind of like take. But he didn't get back to us, never did get back to us. And, hey, we did what,
I find that he is a little, how do you put this? Snobbish. I don't know if use the word snobbish, but
hello, undefined.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I don't know the man personally. He seems like a really nice guy from just, from what I see. And, but, maybe he is a pain in the ass. I don't know. I'm a pain in the ass.
I still love you, Joe.
So, I mean, like I said, as far as I can tell, he seems like a really nice guy. And, I really can't say anything negative about him. I don't know him, personally. I just know that, hey, we reached out, man. What was the issue? What was the problem? Because we would have went to him. We definitely
that would have been really cool if you could have got him to,
and it would have been cool to see the museum, because that's on my bucket list as well, seeing the museum. So
my top of my bucket list is Hinsdale House, and I'll get there one day.
Yeah, I still need to go there. That's a long drive for me too. I wanted to go last year, but the way gas prices were, and I had other things going on, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I love you, Frank, if you're still here. But
it's only showing one person in the chat. I think that's Anthony. I don't know.
Or it's just me, because I'm in there too.
Yeah.
But I will say that I am sick and tired of the Harrisville haunting. I'm tired of talking about it. But I'm gonna have to keep continuing to talk about it.
It's inevitable, Joe. You know that, right?
I am ready for the next project. I am beyond ready for the next project, and then I can talk about that until I'm sick of it. But I have event coming up. Well, not me, but I'll be a guest speaker at an event in Michigan, and I'll be
Right
talking
on.
about the Conjuring House. And it's going to be great because I don't have to write anything down. I've talked about it so much. I don't need to write anything down.
Well, that's good. You got it all up here now, right?
Right. But I don't normally, I'm not normally, really optimistic, but I think Matt and I will we'll do some good stuff, and it's going to be different stuff. I know, we know what we're going to do with the next documentary, and it's going to be different. We're going to be doing things that how do I put this? We're going to be doing things and showing things that have never been really done. They've been touched on, but it's never been done in a full in a full capacity that we're going to do this. And
Right on.
it's kind of important for people, to know that, with documentaries that we do, it's not going to be cookie cutter. And they're going to be different than documentaries that we've put out in the past. I mean, so far only one, but this next one's going to be different. And the one after that, it'll be different. Yeah, sure, they'll be investigating and stuff like that. But, we don't want to just keep doing the same old, because basically that's what's happening. It's whether it's TV or somebody else. Hey, we got this documentary, and it's different location, different people, but the same thing. And if anybody watches, watches this later in the future or whatever, my best advice to anyone who's wanting to do documentaries, like paranormal documentaries, editing is important. When you're showing investigation footage, get to the damn point. Get to the point. Don't take 15 minutes of investigating, and just throw it in there as a segment, because that gets boring quick, and that's where your documentaries fall apart. But we also have another little formula to our documentaries, which I am not going to say what it is, but it's missing. It's missing in the TV shows. It's missing in other documentaries, and it has worked. And we're going to continue with that formula, because we do know why. We do know why a lot of people, like it. And we're seeing that in the reviews. Now, of course, we've got a couple of bad reviews. That's freaking normal. Not everybody is going to like the documentary. That's a given. But, when we actually see, when people kind of get into details as to why, they like the documentary, we knew what we were doing. We knew exactly what we were going for, and seeing people, say stuff about that means we're doing something right. And any criticism that we get, and look, hey, I do encourage constructive criticism. Now, I'm not going to sit there and pay attention to, oh, it sucked or something stupid like that, and that's it. I'm not going to pay attention to that.
You want to know why they feel the way they do. Like, explain
right.
a little bit why you feel the way you do about whatever. Yeah.
And there has been, people giving constructive criticism, and I appreciate that.
And
it
that's
was
good. That can be good
right,
though, right?
right. And from there we can go and we can correct that. Now one of the criticism was it was too long. We realized that. And we tried to cut it down as best we could. The problem was
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't make sense. And there wasn't really a way for us to go about certain things to where it would make sense. So if we cut out a lot of it, then it's like, well, wait, that doesn't make any sense. What's going on? With that. But we do know the next time
Mm-hmm.
around, cut it, make sure that it's not long. And again, there were some other criticisms, that we do pay attention to. And yeah, look, that helps us. That really does help us a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
we'll make sure that the next,
This
the
way you
next
get
one
to know
is
what your
exact.
audience likes and doesn't
Right.
like, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, and I'm going to sound like a prick too, but I to a point, I also don't really give a shit what people like and don't like, because no matter what we
Mm-hmm.
do, it could be like perfection for some people. It could
Yeah,
be
not
complete
everybody's
shit
going to
for
be
other
happy with whatever
Right.
you do. Yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
I don't necessarily care what people like or don't like, which sounds shitty of me to say. But that just has to do with you can't please everyone. And
Exactly.
one of the things I something that I had asked people, because I was involved in something else a long time ago, was what is it that you guys want to see more of? What is it that you guys want to see more of? Well, a lot of them said, well, more females. I get that. I understand it, especially at that point in time. But also because it was just nothing but dudes. And a lot of women were like, hey, look, we're in this field too. What about us? And I understand that. But, people were like, oh, more history, more history, more history. Well, I go through and I do as much as I can, but then people complain. That's too much history, not enough investigating. Even when it's half and half history, half investigation.
Yeah.
People would
It's like you said, you
complain.
can't please everybody.
Right. No matter what you do, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
So, if people like it, they like it, and that's awesome. But I'm just like, whoever has supported me or us, for better or worse, no matter what, I
Mhm.
appreciate that more than anything.
Oh yeah, it all means something,
And it's funny because people are like, oh, you guys are going to be famous. We are so not famous. And I even said, we're not going to be famous. It's just us doing what we love to do.
Yeah, but you guys are still going places. Like, I mean, look what, like you've got the documentary out and everything, like it's like things are looking up for you guys. You know what I mean? And then you're going to do another one soon. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Right. And I know Matt sometimes kicks himself for joining the Marines, because it was sort of like bad timing for him in such a way. But I told Matt, look, don't worry, because Matt wants to get out there. He wants to film. He wants to get more out there. And hey, I'm like that too. But we have no idea, what's really going to happen. And Matt has put himself in a position to where he doesn't have to pay for college. It's going to be covered. He can get himself a great job because of military. He's in a really good position. And sure, it's kind of like it's a little inconvenient when it comes to filming and things like that. But for him,
it's beneficial in the long run for Matt.
Right.
Very beneficial.
Right. Yeah. And so I kind of, I've told him that, and he knows that, but Matt also kind of like gets in this place where it's like, oh, I only got, I only got this much time left. I only got this much time left. I wish it was a 2-year contract. It's like, dude, 4 years will fly by.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we'll still get stuff out there while you're, in the Marines. Go do
Right
your
on.
thing.
Yeah. Well, I think we should end this now.
Yeah, I think I took this over, and I didn't mean to. I talked an awful lot. That's not very normal of me.
No, that's fine. Hey, you're the guest. It's all good. I planned on going a little bit longer than an hour, but it's been a little bit longer than an hour. But yeah, I'll have to have you on again. I'd like to have you and Matt on again, like we did before, when he has time away to do it.
He should be.
I'm booked right now.
Oh, had to yawn. Oh,
I'm booked right up until January the 8th.
Right.
So, yeah.
You would, for me, basically any time's good with me. It's really Matt's, schedule. Like, supposed to have the weekend. He's supposed to have the weekends off, but that didn't happen this weekend. He's out on the.
I remember you said he had to go somewhere. He had to do something today. Yeah.
For the weekend, they had to go out and train. And
wasn't it that long hike or something? Wasn't it a long hike?
Yeah, hiking and stuff like that. Yeah, they torture those guys. But I do know Matt. He's gonna be.
He's young.
Yeah, he's gonna be spending time with his mom during Christmas break. So.
Right on. Cool. Good stuff. Well, I would like to thank everybody that came to the show today. It was nice to see people here, and thank you for coming to be interviewed, Joe. This was awesome.
Yep. I try. I try.
No, it was really good, actually. I'm really enjoying actually doing interviews now. Something I wanted to do for quite a while, and now I can finally do it.
Yeah,
the internet didn't screw up at all.
What really helps though is when you interview people who have had a lot of years experience investigating, or having a documentary out or something like that. It really makes the everything flow easy.
I find it makes it easier for me as the person interviewing the person, because the flow just keeps on going, right? Because there's always something to talk about with somebody that's got a lot of years of experience for investigating.
Right. And I can usually answer questions as I'm speaking without those answers popping up. Because a lot of it is, kind of more or less, the same standard questions. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I try to talk my ass off when I'm being interviewed.
Oh, this was awesome. Yeah, this was really awesome. So yeah, definitely have to have you back on in the new year.
But
okay.
Yeah. So it was fun.
Everybody. Yeah, I hope everybody has the rest of their Sunday is a good one. And we will see you all next time. Bye for now.